I was invited to speak about innovation, trends, and sustainability. What does this mean for our sports facilities? Preparing this presentation, I found it extremely interesting to reflect on this issue, which I would now like to share with you. And I would like to start off with what I believe are two rather strong statements. The first statement says, sport is a constant and sustainable driver for innovation and new trends. Nowadays, it feels a bit as if new trend sports are appearing every other day, or to express it in another way. Sportsmen and, of course, sportswomen, physical, active, and skilled people are incredibly inventive when it comes to incredibly creative when it comes to inventing new forms of physical activities. So as Michael already mentioned, sport overall is in a constant change process. My second strong statement says architecture, and we are, but you are in the Chamber of Architecture there in Munich. The strong statement is architecture is a constant and sustainable driver for innovation. And I would put it like also in sports facilities by now. We probably all know or are aware that architecture is a very creative field, and that architects are seeking and longing for new solutions and creative solutions. Sports facilities, on the other hand, for a very long time haven't been so much in the focus of this issue and of this creativity, which has, in my opinion, a lot to do with strong standardizations and regulations in our field. This is now obviously changing. And of course, the picture, as I show you in this slide, that's not everyday sports architecture. This is highlights, and this is award-winning pictures. But it's not expensive and really huge facilities. Actually, it is small, but really creative and intelligent facilities. Most of the pictures I show you in this slide are from Denmark. And actually, this is the country we all are looking now at the moment. And we are learning from there. So when as Denmark still is in the lead, it is really obvious that other countries are on the way to follow and learn from this. But let us now have a look at the trends overall. I talk about these exemplary, and there is no right to completeness in this list. I would like to start off with comprehensive facilities, or put it the other way, monofunctional sports facility are fortunately coming out of fashion. We are now looking at comprehensive facility, at multifunctionality, and this leads to activate as many target groups as possible. Another trend is we are looking for inspiring facilities. We want to address also inactive groups. Inspiration nowadays is becoming a much bigger issue. It's not just for the sake of design that architecture is strongly involved. We have realized by now that atmosphere does a lot to motivate people to get active. And so this is really a valuable development. Sports facilities nowadays also are becoming a more relevant parameter in urban and regional planning. Well, why? First of all, sports is no longer just a business of sports clubs and sports associations. We have a lot more self-organized physical activities, and this is why public space gets more and more important, and we have to integrate sports and the possibilities to do sports in urban planning and also in public space. And we also have a growing significance of active mobility. And this corresponds quite a lot with all our tasks of sustainability. This is relevant as well as for CO2 reduction, but also for our physical activities. So actually, this is kind of a win-win situation. Some more trends, and I would like to discuss or describe the two first points actually in combination. We have realized and learned that we cannot continue to build the same standardized sports facilities just at any place. This is very likely to become a bad planning and also a bad investment. In contrary, we have to have a far closer look at the needs of the people. At local demands, we have to speak to the users, work with them, and we also have to discuss with the managers. We had this topic already yesterday, and I want to add a little bit, or have a little message to my colleagues in Vienna, as they asked about this thing. Actually, the user participation is already a big issue in Austria by now, in many planning fields, for housing, for urban planning, also for schools. Actually, ÖSS has been involved in user participation processes, successfully involved for 12 years by now, and we have gained a lot of experience. In sports, this is rather new, but we have started it. We are now actually responsible for involving the Sports Association for the planned sports arena in Vienna at the moment, and we really have to promote this user participation also in sports. And if we do this, and when we do this, of course, we have to kind of push standardization a little aside, or as we are working in standardization, we have to produce a standardization which enable us to do a much more manifold form of architecture for sport. So actually it is becoming a far more differentiated sports infrastructure. The third trend I'm showing here you is really new, and it has started as well as also in Denmark, but also in Northern America. It says, let us combine sports facilities much more with other cultural and social infrastructure. The pictures you see of the library on the top are from Karin architects, as you probably can read. And this is a wonderful combination because this addresses two groups at once, and they really can learn from each other. People at the library have the chance to get active, and the people who are at the sports facility have the chance to get closer to reading and books. The last trend I want to show to you, or to explain to you, is something which we have realized when we have a closer look what happened during and while our COVID-19, which actually, of course, in all things is awful and terrible for us. It forced us to stay home. But when people couldn't use any sports facility, they kind of occupied public space. It was a growing utilization of outdoor grounds and facilities, including school grounds. So people got used to go more outside, to be more visible in the open space. And probably this is something we hope we can keep after when we have hopefully successful overcome this pandemic. So, oh, sorry, this is too quick. Oh, yes. So the next question, how does sustainability fit into this picture of innovation and trends? And again, I would like to start off with a strong postulation. Sport very much has to make its contribution to the world's efforts against climate changes, to sustainability and environmental protection. The question is how? Many aspects for energy saving and CO2 reduction we have already discussed yesterday, and I don't want to repeat any of this. Actually, my focus in my presentation is on issues which are very specific to sports facilities, not so much on the overall issues. And I want to point some of these special issues out to the audience. Especially sports halls of a larger scale offer large flat roofs, which of course is a potential for solar and photovoltaic panels. Then we have the topic of artificial lighting, or let's say floodlights of outdoor sports grounds. They have a high potential for energy saving. For example, by replacing old lighting installations by LED. But I have a big but out of my work to all this. We really have to have a close look that this is done in a proper way. Our colleagues from our testing laboratories are very busy at the moment, controlling all these construction sites where we have severe problems with blindings for the sportsmen and also with blindings for the neighborhood. All these measures really need expertise planning. So we really have to look, let us not take the cheapest solution, but make sure that we do a proper planning and include the necessary expertise in this. This is a message also for those of you who are into the funding process. Sometimes we are looking for easy checklists to do the funding process, but we really have to have a close look that it is done properly. Some more issues of sustainability, which are really special in sports facilities, I would like to point out. One big issue which will keep us really busy and needs our major concern now and in the future is that we have a lot of synthetic material in our sports surfaces. And we also, the second point, but which I don't want to discuss too long because there is a whole session on this afternoon. But we also have to speak about capacity utilization and after game use, of course. But let us first look at the synthetic material. And I would like to tell you the story on the example of synthetic turf. I do this as I'm the leader of the IAKS expert circle on synthetic turf. So actually I could do a whole lecture on this. I try to keep it as brief as possible, but I think it's really necessary that the audience gets more aware of this issue. For those who are not in this field, natural turf as a sports surface has clear limits in usage to secure a green pitch and the growing of our plants. So we actually need synthetic turfs for our sports activities. It is necessary, especially as an alternative to natural grass under urban conditions with high utilization, and also in mountainous regions where the grass doesn't really grow. Synthetic turf as a sport surface is a technical system, clearly defined through European standards, FIFA regulations, and a lot of others. And this is mostly our problem, it's a system with high potential of dispersion into the environment, most of all of rubber granule infill, but also of abrasion. So what are our current concerns? For quite a long time, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons have kept us busy. Most of you probably know that these elements are in tires, and so of course they are also in end-of-life tires, which we use as rubber infill in artificial turf. And actually it's a carcinogenic substance, which is really dangerous. We have now come to a conclusion with this topic, as there's now a legal limitation for pH contents in rubber infill. This will be legal in Europe starting 2022. In Germany, as I know, and also in Austria, we already have regulations on this since 2017. The big issue at the moment is the infill, which is intentionally added microplastics. So we are now dealing with the question of microplastic, and there is a clear recommendation of the European Chemical Agency for restrictions on this, which will mean quite a lot on all our existing artificial turf surfaces and fields all over the countries. This is still under negotiation at the European Commission. We don't have a regulation yet, but actually we're expecting it. It's also a question of the production. It's actually a mineral oil-based system. And it's also a question of disposal, because actually when we take off the artificial turf, we have a hazardous waste. And in the future, we might even discuss abrasion, but this is still a discussion among experts. It's not in the politics yet. We already have alternative systems for infill, which are already on the market, but the sports performance and their long duration are still very open questions. And the whole industry is working on the field of recycling this material and to create a fully circular turf. So as you can see, it seems to be a really small topic, within the industry of sports facility, but as an issue that keeps us really busy, and the whole industry actually is working on a more environmental friendly solution for just one surface. You are going to have a session on big event venues, so I'm not going to focus on this issue in this presentation. Still, I want to mention it. Even also in our opening speech of Mrs. Huck from the Chamber of Architecture, she talked about the white elephant as a well-known phenomenon in the world of sports facility, especially in connection with major sport events, such as Olympics, expressing facility which are out of use after the game. But I strongly believe, and we know this is not just a topic for the big venues, it's a topic for all sports venues. Sustainable of sports facilities means most of all optimizing the daily utilization of any sports facilities. Nothing in terms of sustainability is worse than vacancies and underused facilities within sports. So what we really need is management concepts, not that when the facility is already built, actually way at the beginning, so that we really know what to do and what to build and what the needs are of the users and also of the managers. So they are really necessary within each project development and within each decision making and within each planning process. So the main question is, how do these issues of sustainability relate to the trends and innovations, as I have introduced to you at the beginning? I think really well. It has a lot to do with social justice, what I've been talking about. Comprehensive, inspiring facility, which are well coordinated with local needs and activate as many target groups as possible, are well prepared for long-term and sustainable utilization. They can then be a contribution of sports sector to the world's efforts for environmental protection and against climate changes. Sports facilities have to become a deeper matter of sharing. This is again a plea against monofunctional sports facility and a plea for multifunctionality and including as many people as possible. It's a matter of, it has to become a matter of sharing in a growing world to minimize consumption and ecological footprint. And as I said, we have a lot of technical problems if these new measures aren't done properly. We have to do all efforts of we need all efforts of the industry and of experts to ensure appropriate material and technical solutions. Before I come to the end of my presentation, I would add a final thought, a final issue, which is really important to myself in a very long-term perspective. Sustainability of our built environment, this must include sports facility, is deeply influenced by people's emotional connectivity and the significance it derives for society. This is when the inspiring facilities again come to the fore. A colleague of mine, architect Dietmar Eberle, once said, the most sustainable facilities are the ones people love and value. This is because connectivity and significance contribute to our willingness to invest into maintenance, renovation, and later on even into reuse. The two pictures I have below on this slide, of course, we cannot fully compare our sports facilities with Notre Dame, where we all know that we want to take care to keep it forever and have it find a solution to bring it back to life. But actually the mission is the same. And actually our host city, Munich, has a wonderful sports park, which we are going to visit this afternoon, which has this emotional connectivity and this significance for the town. And we hope that much more sports facilities in our world will come to this point of having emotional connectivity and significance for the society. Well, actually, this was my presentation. I thank you very much for your attention. I'm looking forward to your questions and the discussion later on. And please feel free to contact us. Thank you very much.